Stepping into this village, I immediately felt a sense of the old and modern. The village is more than 600 years old and was built starting in the Ming dynasty. But it didn't feel old, abandoned, or dilapidated at all. On the contrary, more than 70 old houses have been renovated and upgraded, including this one. Many have been turned into specialty restaurants, wine cellars, shops, art galleries, or studios. They have retained their original look, more or less, with stone gates, courtyards, and lanterns. Given my obsession with wooden screens, I especially like the way they are used here to decorate rooms, such as at this restaurant. I also love these wicker outdoor furniture. They're so much cuter and better for the environment than plastic garden chairs. Seeing these, I was reminded that I should get a set for the back garden of our ancestral house so that we can sit outdoors on cool evenings and have dinner. The flowers were also inspiring. I've been wondering lately if bougainvillea would look nice leaning out from the walls of our front yard. These are the Chinese characters for Zhongshan, and they are stylistically depicted on this wall. That's probably because the village is also home to artisan workshops and creative spaces. It has earned the nickname of being Zhongshan's cultural and creative village. Ancient stone-carved houses are now popular cafes. They attract tourists of all ages. I like the mix of the old and modern. My cousin and I sat in this cafe. Notice how the gray bricks are revealed and the walls are not painted. I've wondered if I should do the same and not paint the outer walls of our ancestral house. My favorites are still the houses with traditional roofs, like this one. But modern conveniences such as air conditioning units placed outdoors mar their appearance. It's refreshing to see young people flock to places like this, showing an appreciation for what's old and traditional. They are also attracted by cute modern additions, of course, such as this giant cat painting and new tastes for coffee. According to Baidu, China's version of Google, the village is making money, including from residents renting out their renovated properties to business owners. Many of the homeowners have moved to Hong Kong or Macau, while others are overseas Chinese residing in the US, Canada, Australia, and other countries. According to Baidu, 2 overseas Chinese residents have returned. I wonder if they're like me and want to save their family's heritage. The village does a good job of that, preserving heritage. A martial artist once lived here, and now there's an association passing on martial arts skills. According to Baidu, there are approximately 180 old residential houses here. They were built either in the traditional Lingnan style, typical of this part of southern China, or a blend of Chinese and Western styles, mostly during the Qing dynasty or Republic of China period. Most of these houses are well preserved, featuring traditional Chinese main doors, high gate towers made of gray bricks, windows decorated with plaster sculptures, and colorful bird and flower paintings. Mindful of modern tourists' needs, there's even a sand playground for children so that tired parents can keep them occupied in a safe zone. We didn't have time to check out several so-called private kitchen restaurants, which apparently are very well decorated. Next time. The biggest laugh I got was from this singing dog. Of course, there are lots of people taking pictures. These 2 young ladies taught me and another middle-aged woman how to pose for beauty shots. According to Baidu, the village has a registered population of over 200 households and nearly 1,000 residents. But apparently, only about 600 actually live in the village. The non-registered migrant population is about 500. Sadly, some buildings like this temple were damaged during the tumultuous years of the Cultural Revolution in the 1960s to 70s. It was good the signs pointed that out, otherwise people wouldn't know the reason for the damaged walls or the history of the village. I gained a lot of inspiration and ideas from this visit. But it's not my intention at all to turn our little alley into a tourist hotspot. Far from it. In my humble opinion, that would actually ruin its charm and possibly cause traffic and other problems for the current residents. I just want to finish repairing our house and spend more time in this neighborhood, rekindling neighborly friendships and learning about our family's past. But I do wonder what might happen if more people fix up their homes or even try to turn them into businesses. What do you think? Would that be good or bad, in your opinion? One thing we must not lose is what makes this alley so special. Its friendly neighborly atmosphere and tranquility. If you like this episode, please hit the subscribe button and share this video. I would love to hear what you think of Sanxi Village and how to revive old neighborhoods without ruining their character. See you next week.